radical. We talked about Catholic Church, they used to kill people. That was radical. Just gotta go far enough back, right?
Hey, welcome back.
That's it.
We're gonna share these, because we have to share,
I know.
we have to share these.
It's the Lord's fault, he made it.
Have to
So,
sneeze.
Friday. 24 hours. Baptist alone is about 22.
that's right. I hold my watch and my wallet up in my hand, so as long as you don't interfere with my time, I'm not ready. Good morning, evening. Let's call the work session for March 25th.
Wake up, John.
What's that?
Good morning.
He had a big.
We didn't have nearly enough coffee today, but we're gonna work on that. The March 25th, 2025 work session, we'll call it. Review of the different items on here, so we got, did we get everything? Did we get were we missing one? Was that not right? Okay. And because the other one, we didn't have the quorum.
You have to call for an executive session.
Right.
You just didn't have that one.
No, that's fine. All right,
That's
so.
correct. There was a discrepancy from your, so we added them.
You got it, I got it. All right, so February 25th, regular work session minutes, February 25th, regular minutes, March 11th, regular minutes, and March 11th, work session minutes. Everybody's had those. Any questions, comments, concerns? Hearing none. New business, consideration to approve the city manager recommendation to accept the bid from CMC LLC for grading and finishing of the area in the rear of the shops, famously known as the swamp, I think, for a long time. In the amount of $187,950 from SPLOSH funds and general funds allocated to public works and maintenance, authorized the mayor to execute any documents. Mr. Baker.
Yes, sir. These are the next progression in what we're trying to do out there at the district to finish off that project. The final phase will be putting up the actual laser cutout signage, so it will be complete. Welcome back to the city of Morrow. Currently, the LED lights have been fixed, the meters are up, and they're ready to be on, and they'll be on all night as a kind of guide on to see where we're going in the city of Morrow, and that's the first introduction. You come up I-75, so some trees have been removed, and you can actually have some visibility there. The laser cutouts, as I've shown in here before, would be large signs that have lights behind them. But before we can do that, we have to finish off that swamp, the tag area behind the amphitheater. So that's going to require about 850 to 900 truckloads of dirt from the mountain over off of Meadowbrook, which we already have. So we put out some bids here. Brandon got some. Several that were put in. So there's 3 bids that are listed, the lower of those bids being CMC LLC, which would be my recommendation, and that would include about 900 truckloads of dirt, a track loader with an excavator and a dozer to kind of get that done. Also include finishing with some seed and some hay at this particular time. So it would also grade that down. We're not touching the stream bed yet because that's going to require some other permits that we'll get at a later date, some riprap and some other things along the creek bed. But it would taper off down there to the creek bed with a slight 1 to 2, 3 degree grade depending on where it is.
We'll stay out of the stream buffer variance, which is basically 25 feet from the top. Questions, Ms. Knight?
No question.
Mr. Kwa?
So, I mean, we kind of level it out. I mean, is there any height expecting?
So roughly 10 feet coming up off of that, and then it'll come up and level it off across the wall there, the retaining wall, and then it'll taper it down. You won't be noticeable by line of sight, but you'll see a slight taper.
Are we going to put grass on top?
Yes, sir. We're going to see, we'll take some Kentucky bluegrass and some hay.
So this including the deal?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's cool.
And then the funding would be paid for by out of the SPLOT fund. RJ, can you locate the SPLOT fund?
I was going to ask, do you have a new funding
It's a
bucket?
new fund, apparently.
It's called SPLOT.
It's
I
SPLOT.
like that.
Splot
We couldn't
is
afford 2
special.
S's.
That's what he wrote.
What,
That is not what I wrote.
So one more question, sir. Which access that we do? We were gonna load a 900 truck. You're not gonna go through the wooden bridge, right?
Oh, no, they'll actually go over there and pick it up on a dump truck, and they'll pick it up over there.
I know, but it's gonna go.
They'll go down and around and drop. So there's an access cut back behind on the side for a unit.
Where the firework is.
No,
Yeah.
what he's asking is you're not driving that truck across that wooden bridge, you're gonna use the other bridge.
Oh, no. We'll drive it across the culvert.
Just making sure.
But we could drive it across there. It's a DOT rated bridge.
I know, but it's 900 truck and you wear the heck out of that thing. I wouldn't.
I'm asking for another 50,000 next week to be able to pay the thing back.
I wouldn't take that risk.
Ms. Dean. Ms. Dorothy.
No questions?
No question. Ms. Hugh. Ms. Wayne.
No question.
I don't have any questions on that one. Okay. Ordinance 2501. And this is first reading of this, and it's potentially dealing with noise levels. And I'm gonna start this conversation. Is we've been operating. The city's trying to be in the entertainment business. We're trying really, really hard, and you got to be cognizant of the environment that you're in. And we realize that operating some of these things till midnight might not be everybody's cup of tea. So we looked at where do other places do it? What do they do? And areas that are very nice. So we use Chastain in Atlanta. Most of the houses around Chastain are worth probably a couple $1 million. And Chastain does some really nice concerts, and it's an outdoor venue space. And so we kind of said, what do they do, right? So we want to be as good as some very nice places. Long term, obviously, we want to have property value. And so we took a model ordinance from that thought process, and we're working to create it. And where it kind of changes a little bit, there's some decibel levels. You can download a decibel meter on your own Apple phone. And it basically says 11 o'clock instead of, if you want to do something, that runs a little bit later, do it inside. We have facilities for that too. You're going to have an arena that's going to be an inside facility, but we're going to start to shut these things down at about 11. And then we'll go into, some decibel ranges that, are fair. I'm not going to say arbitrary from the standpoint of how you decide, but it's common sense decisions. And Mr. Baker.
This is just a kind of an addendum to our current existing noise ordinance, but it's specifically to address promote the public health, safety, and welfare, but also to specifically address the outside venues. There's a quiet time that would be put into play in section 3 in the definitions that talks about the decibel sound noise. What noise definitions are: the quiet hours would be designated between 11 p.m. and ending at 7 a.m. the following day. The noise requirements, which if you download it on your phone, anybody can get it. It's a decibel app, and it will read the decibels for you. 90 decibels is pretty loud, and what you do is measure at the edge of the property, so you'll be able to accurately measure that on an outside event. And the maximum allowable noise during quiet hours is 55 decibels. So it talks about construction, it talks about those different things in here, and also the penalties. The penalties would be violations of that ordinance shall be subject to fines not exceeding $1,000 per offense, and repeat violations will result in additional penalties, including revocation of permits.
And most of these outside events require a permit anyway, right? So we're assuming that all of them are ours. They're not. Some of them are private sector. But you're just headed in a pretty cool lane. Is it perfect? We'll find out, and we'll adjust as it goes on. Questions, Ms. Dunn?
Current noise ordinances, what time is cut off, or do we have that established?
It's in there, and it's kind of a commonality. I believe it stops at midnight for that, and that's more geared towards like loud mufflers and dogs and some of those things. This one is specifically going to carve out that. It still stays in effect. This one just kind of addresses those public events.
The reason why I'm asking is because, we deal with fireworks in the neighborhoods. And so we need to roll that in. We need to make sure that if we are addressing a noise ordinance, we're addressing fireworks in the neighborhoods, because there are times where they do run surprisingly late.
Right. And I don't know what the decibel levels are, but this could possibly be, if it's over that, when they explode on those mortar rounds.
So can we inquire to make sure that this covers fireworks in the neighborhoods?
I believe the other noise ordinance will overlay that, but let me check on that. Make sure.
If you would, so that while we're on noise ordinances, if we have to address fireworks in the neighborhoods, then let's go ahead and do that.
Can we address that separately? Because that's a pretty discussion.
I think
Because July 4th is pretty common to us.
Yeah.
But if somebody asked me what Korean New Year is, I don't know. If you ask me what Spanish New Year is, I don't know.
I mean,
I know,
and culturally, we've seen weddings with fireworks in
Right.
the neighborhoods. So there are so many events that take place in the neighborhood where neighbors use fireworks. Just wanting to make sure that we take that into consideration while we're talking
Right,
about
and what I
noise.
would prefer to do on that one is probably beef up that noise ordinance if it doesn't address that, as opposed to this one, because this one kind of addresses what we, kind of the elephant in the room, we've kind of skirted this issue for a period of time. Now that it's, particularly if we're gonna start the amphitheater over there and get that going, it's gonna be there'll be an issue with that, so.
Okay,
It's
so
becoming more popular for that area, and we're having more outdoor concerts and everything else, I think it's just to help because the noise carrier, believe it or not, right across that interstate.
absolutely. I hear the concerts at my house. So
Yeah.
I am asking that we as a council consider the additional aspect of fireworks in the neighborhood.
Yes, ma'am. I'll bring that to the next council meeting, we can address that, make sure I'll give y'all copies of that. We'll see.
Mr. Clark,
No question.
Ms. Dean.
On the noise thing again, I know there's some areas where, as Renee was saying, with the fireworks, spaces where they're, shooting them off and all of that kind of stuff. Can we have something that controls where they shoot those things off? Because if I'm here and they're across the street and they're in the middle of our houses and they go straight up,
Personally, I personally prefer that you do it in the middle of the road. Because if you've seen some of these fireworks from the local companies, they start on fire after they're done. I do a lot of fireworks at my house. My neighbors will tell you that. I started my grass on fire a couple times. I managed to have an off-duty firefighter that's related to me, with a fire hose, so, we didn't have to call the big boys. But, none of my neighbors have complained yet. Or if they have, I still got all the windows in my house. But I think maybe is an answer, but I think
I
each
mean, if
lot's
there
different.
is
It's
something that we
complicated.
can look into or something put out there, be careful, don't,
What specifically did you want, Ms. Dean? Because there's some of it I think that.
Let's just look at fireworks in general and just see if we can
Yeah,
reach a
yeah.
consensus, but
but just,
it may not be the consensus we all
I'm
think.
pretty sure the fire department has something on that, so.
I think Roger would be in the no category.
I think, yeah, because we have burning in the city, we have fireworks, just a weekend or so ago, somebody was, and it was after midnight, that they were going off, and Victor said they probably were, having a wedding or something.
Victor was having a wedding, you said?
I'd much rather than do fireworks than gunshots and things like that, so.
Well, I'm not gonna complete what he's, I'm not gonna finish what he's.
Oh, Victor's in trouble again. All right, Ms. Wynn.
No question.
But let's look at it
Yeah.
and just see if we can reach a
All right.
consensus. There's so much out there in that subject matter.
Have those for you guys this week.
I'm sure reasonableness can be found.
I'd like to know what Wayne Collins do in his subdivision, because they don't have any of these problems.
We love fireworks.
But you know what I'm talking about with those little boxes, they start, I'd rather be out there with the garden hose in the area to protect. Because if somebody said they have to do them, they're not gonna stop doing them, which means they're just gonna do them in your side yard. And do you really want them? The real cheap ones that they get from Alabama tip over, and what happens, you start getting bottle rockets heading down the streets, that's not smart.
I think if they buy them from anywhere other than the city of Mara, Phantom Fireworks, they're pretty cheap and worthless, so I would encourage everybody to visit Phantom Fireworks.
I agree too, they're a good business license, they give us a discount, I think.
Yeah.
Anyway, then I know, I'd like to add to the agenda, and we'll add it to the work session agenda, because I think we can, right? So go into executive session, have a conversation. You wanna do that? Because we got 45 minutes, to be honest with you.
plan to.
All right, do I hear a motion to add it to the, what, you wanna do the work session agenda? Is that fair?
Yes, that's.
All right, do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Motion, all those in favor say aye. Ms. Knight?
Aye.
Mr. Clark?
Aye.
Ms. Dean?
Aye.
And Ms. Wynn. And the subject matter is related to, property and real estate.
Okay.
So the city's got some really cool options out there, and, nothing in stone, but let's just say we put enough partners together that we just might have some pass. And we need to have some conversations with those people. We'll eventually meet with the DDA and the URA. But right now, let's take what we have and talk to the city council and, see what happens. And it's the right answer. or at least it's a like concept in it. So, motion to go into executive session is already done. All in favor, say that. Did I already do that, Ms. Knight?
No, you have to confirm
All
as
right,
well.
so,
You
okay.
can confirm that.
Okay, so we just added it to the agenda.
Yeah, you
Now
just
we'll
added to
actually
the
make a
agenda.
motion to go into
That's right.
executive session. Do I hear a motion?
So
So
moved.
moved.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Ms. Knight?
Aye.
Mr. Qua?
Aye.
Ms. Nguyen?
Aye.
And Ms. Dean?
Aye.
We'll see y'all shortly. He's got good coffee, right?
Yes.
Aye.
Push that chair out.
I'm gonna sue you.
Be my guest.
When you change the song to a song, you know,
Be mean.
so that's when you come.
And then tell them, don't tell the truth about men. You say things,
Sorry.
all kinds of stuff.
I need you to, because
Yeah. I thought we were friends. I thought we were real friends. 'Cause I really do, you're my best friend.
That didn't mean any good, though. Read it off the top of my head. Wow. You make me nervous when you sit in the front, right?
As you should.
All right, motion to exit executive session.
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Motion second, seconded. All those in favor say aye. Ms. Knight?
Aye.
Mr. Qua?
Aye.
Ms. Dean?
Aye.
And Ms. Whitman?
Aye.
Motion carries. Good evening. I'd like to call the March 25th, 2025 regular meeting of the Moss City Council to order. If you'll stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a moment of silence. And please keep in prayers Mr. Ivy Carter, who is a former public works director, not director, employee, who passed away this last week. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. Approval of the agenda, not the agenda, but the regular minutes from 2025, February 25th, and the work session from February 25th, the regular meeting minutes from March 11th, and the work session minutes from March 11th. Do I hear a motion to approve?
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Motion properly seconded. All those in favor say aye. Ms. Knight?
Aye.
Mr. Qua?
Aye.
Ms. Dean?
Aye.
And Ms. Nguyen?
Aye.
Motion carries. New business consideration to approve the city manager's recommendation to accept the bid from CMC LLC for the grading and finishing of the area to the rear of the shops in the amount of $187,950 from SPOS Fund and General Funds allocated to Public Works. Maintenance budget, authorize mayor to execute any related documents. The city manager made the presentation before the work session. Any other questions, comments, concerns? Hearing none, do I hear a motion to approve?
So moved.
Hear a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Ms. Knight?
Aye.
Mr. Qua?
Aye.
Ms. Dean?
Aye.
And Ms. Nguyen?
Aye.
Ordinance 2025-01, it's a first reading of an ordinance, and it is related to noise as was explained in the work session. I believe a copy is in the back. If you have any additional comments or anything you want to make, just talk with the city manager and see what we can do about those. We want to add an item to the agenda, and it's going to be related to the executive session. It's going to be called item 1. Do I hear a motion to add it to the agenda?
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Ms. Knight?
Aye.
Mr. Qua?
Aye.
Ms. Dean?
Aye.
Ms. Nguyen?
Aye.
Taking us back into the idea of executive session, item 1. Do I hear a motion to approve?
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Motion properly seconded. All those in favor say aye. Ms. Knight?
Aye.
Mr. Qua?
Aye.
Ms. Dean?
Aye.
And Ms. Nguyen?
Aye.
Motion carries. General comments? Ms. Christie? I'm doing well. How about yourself?
I understand y'all had a ribbon cutting this morning, I'm sorry I missed it. At the,
Tenant conversations.
Lawnmower guy in my house. Harbor Freight, are we gonna do a ribbon cutting?
We are. I would anticipate one for Harbor Freight is already open for anybody who hasn't been there. But it's, you know, we want to do a little bit of a hurrah, and they haven't really like, you know, kicked it over themselves, but the price is good. Yeah, it's good. The price is good.
Yeah, I went yesterday to Harbor Freight. That's why I'm glad you finally got it after 2 years now.
Yeah. Well, now here's the thing on that. How long did that building sit vacant?
A long time.
Like 20 some years. And then as they got into the discussion, and they found mold, right? So that kicked out a lease clause, so they had to go back in, remediate the mold, and then get back into the game. So they fought through that. Everybody made that work. You know, so now we've had a building, or one more building, that has been vacant or not being used for the better part of, you know, 2 decades. That's now in play, you know, which is awesome for the city in terms of that. So, but we'll have a ribbon cutting on that soon. Other questions? We
Well, yes, they're planning ribbon cutting maybe within 2 weeks, and we're gonna partner up with them.
okay. Couple weeks. More or less.
Practicing right now.
Other questions? Don't all be shy. Okay. Anybody else? Y'all have them? Are you just taking notes? Any of the good stuff? All right. Here no comments, questions from the audience. I'll go to the city council. Miss Knight,
No comments at this time.
Mr. Quah,
No comments.
Miss Dean,
No comment.
and Miss Wynn.
No comment.
I'm gonna make one. Ivy, for those of you who knew it, had retired from Public Works. You know, some of you may remember him, some not. You know, but when anybody works that hard for you that long, pretty good idea to remember they're here. So, prayers out to his family. That's all I had. Good evening.
Hold on, Ms. Knight.